An ominous call awakened the quiet Argentine town of Gualeguaychú on an early December morning in 2017. A passerby reported finding a young man bleeding with 2 gunshot wounds. This is how the investigation into a gruesome murder began, which would soon expose the darkest secrets of one of the seemingly well-off families. The victim of the crime was 20-year-old Fernando Pastorizo, a cheerful and good-natured young man who loved animals and had no serious problems. However, his girlfriend Nahir Galarza, born on September 11, 1998, was linked to many frightening details. In childhood, Nahir is described as a joyful and charming girl. At school, she demonstrated outstanding results, especially in learning foreign languages. The girl's younger brother lagged behind in development and was later declared disabled. But the Galarza family maintained harmony and order. The mother taught the children to be tidy from an early age. Over time, Nahir developed a truly maniacal obsession with cleanliness. She regularly did thorough cleanings, paying close attention to hand hygiene. The father, a police officer, adored his children and, together with his wife, spoiled them with love. It was easy for Nahir to fulfill her dream. After school, she entered the law faculty of the university without any problems. The sophisticated student led an active lifestyle, went to the gym, got massages, and often attended parties with numerous friends. Nahir met her fateful lover Fernando in her teenage years in 2012, when she was 14 and he was 15. But their relationship did not work out from the very beginning. There were endless quarrels due to mutual suspicions and jealousy. They would break up for a while, then get back together. Even a family trip to Brazil in 2016 for a joint vacation only temporarily reconciled the lovers. Conflicts soon flared up with renewed vigor. On the eve of Christmas 2017, Nahir and Fernando, after a quarrel, decided to go together to a party with mutual friends. There was a scuffle involving Fernando, the reasons for which remained unclear. After returning from her regular massage on December 28th, Nahir found her phone discharged and went to Fernando's to get the charger she had left there. That fateful night, he drove the girl home. But the next morning, a taxi driver passing by stumbled upon Fernando's lifeless, bloody body with 2 gunshot wounds lying near his motorcycle and a pair of helmets. Thus, the chilling details of the terrible crime that took place against the backdrop of an ordinary family drama surfaced. The investigation into this case was just beginning, but it was already becoming clear. The true causes of the tragedy were much deeper than the banal quarrels of the lovers. Ahead was the task of uncovering the dark secrets that the Galarza family had kept for many years. As soon as it dawned after the fateful night, Nahir posted a touching post on her Instagram with their joint photo. 5 years together, quarrels, breakups, reconciliations, but always with love. I love you forever, my angel Fernando. Soon, the girl was called by the agitated mother of the murdered young man with questions about what had happened, but Nahir replied that she knew nothing. Meanwhile, the investigators who arrived at the crime scene in the quiet, respectable neighborhood began to carefully collect all possible clues and leads. The slightest detail could be important. The initial obvious version, a robbery, was immediately dismissed, as all valuables remained untouched with the murdered young man. The law enforcement officers were puzzled. A neighborhood with minimal crime, so who and why could have so brutally dealt with Fernando? According to the examination, the murder was committed with a 9mm pistol, which is usually used by police officers. Suspicion arose that the shooter could be a law enforcement officer. It also turned out that the first shot was fired at point-blank range from behind the victim. Apparently, Fernando was giving someone a ride on his motorcycle, and the criminal took advantage of the opportune moment to attack from an ambush. The second fatal shot, however, was a finishing one straight to the young man's heart. The discovery of 2 helmets near the body indicated that the victim apparently knew his killer well. When studying the CCTV footage, the investigation was surprised to find a girl calmly and serenely walking away from the crime scene. However, due to the low quality of the recording, it was impossible to see her face. Nevertheless, the main suspect was identified, Nahir Galarza, who was promptly summoned for questioning at the police station. During the interrogation, the girl, wringing her hands and wiping away tears, said that after meeting with Fernando on that fateful night, he drove her home, she took a shower and went to bed. And in the morning, learning of the tragedy, she posted that morning post, overwhelmed by deep grief and pain of loss. Nahir's sincerity of emotions did not arouse any suspicions of her involvement from the investigators. However, the questioning of the girl's father, who also turned out to be a police officer, seemed extremely suspicious. The man flatly refused to admit that he knew the murdered Fernando, but later, photographs surfaced in which the families of Nahir and the young man were captured together during one of their joint trips. Why did the father lie to the investigation? This raised suspicions about his possible involvement in the murder out of jealousy and dislike for his daughter's chosen one. And indeed, the ballistic examination showed that the fatal shots were fired from Nahir's father's personal service pistol. The alleged motive for the crime emerged: the father's dissatisfaction with his daughter's relationship with Fernando, their constant quarrels and breakups. But then Nahir unexpectedly intervened in the case, deciding to take the blame on herself and thereby cover for her parent. The girl firmly told the investigators that she had become a victim of domestic violence from her boyfriend, who allegedly abused her that night, which forced her to open fire on him in self-defense. However, this version caused distrust among the investigators and raised many new questions. Where could Nahir have gotten a gun? And why didn't she call the police and ambulance after the incident? It turned out that the girl simply stole her father's service weapon shortly before the tragedy, and after the deed, she quietly returned it to its original storage place. But her parents didn't even notice the gun's disappearance, which explains their non-involvement in what happened. The police also found CCTV footage showing Nahir calmly and serenely leaving the scene of her boyfriend's murder. During a new interrogation, the girl admitted to the investigation that she simply panicked and didn't think the shots would be fatal for Fernando. During the initial interrogations, Nahir justified herself by saying that she really didn't think it would end so tragically. When she realized that Fernando was dead, she was upset and depressed by what had happened. Testimonies from mutual friends of the couple were highly contradictory. Nahir's girlfriends unanimously blamed Fernando for everything, citing frequent complaints from the girl about her lover's poor treatment of her. On the other hand, friends of the murdered young man openly blamed the hot-tempered and aggressive Nahir for the tragedy. Some of them even claimed that the relationship between this couple could hardly be called normal and healthy. It was also revealed that both Fernando and Nahir had other casual affairs besides each other. A careful analysis of Fernando's chats with friends showed that the young man was indeed subjected to brutal violence from his jealous girlfriend, who constantly threatened him with retaliation. Fernando often complained to his friends about Nahir frequently beating him. In the end, the young man became completely disillusioned with these painful relationships and simply dreamed of a quiet, measured life away from his aggressive lover, which is why he broke up with her. It is possible that Nahir's murder of Fernando was an act of cruel revenge by a girl driven insane by jealousy. Later in her defense, Nahir insisted that everything had happened by accident. Allegedly, they fell off the motorcycle, after which the girl picked up the gun, resulting in 2 accidental shots. But the ballistics expert refuted this version. 2 consecutive accidental shots from a gun could not have sounded. If the first one could still be tried to pass off as accidental, the second was clearly intentional. In addition, the CCTV footage clearly captured the girl walking away at a completely calm, measured pace, showing no sign of the shock she would later tell the investigators about, although Nahir claimed that after the incident, she was in a heart-rending state of shock. The handwriting analysis conducted showed that the girl is prone to unstable emotional behavior, is highly self-centered, and has a pathological tendency to manipulate those around her. Other frightening traits of her personality were also revealed: aggression, a thirst for attention at any cost, impulsiveness, a tendency for occasional lying and dominating other people. An analysis of Nahir's signature only confirmed the diagnosis, an unstable emotional state that she could not cope with. It turned out that the girl is not as simple as she might seem at first glance. At the age of 16, she once staged her own kidnapping, just for fun, shocking her parents. After the incident, her shocked parents sent their daughter for a full psychiatric evaluation. Doctors diagnosed Nahir with narcissistic personality disorder, with all the ensuing manifestations, as well as obsessive-compulsive disorder in the form of a pathological obsession with cleanliness. During the trial, Nahir made no attempt to hide the peculiarities of her provocative behavior and explosive temper. She answered questions defiantly and arrogantly, came to court in inappropriate attire, and constantly flirted with those present. The girl continued to insist on the version of self-defense and an accidental incident, but no one believed her anymore, given the evidence collected by the investigators. At first, the father tried to defend Nahir, but in the end, he too renounced his own daughter. It was not possible to prove the girl's story of years of systematic violence from Fernando. Ultimately, the investigation reconstructed what happened roughly as follows. Around 2 a.m., after a prolonged heated argument, Fernando drove Nahir home. The young man asked for a final breakup, but the girl was categorically against it. Left alone, Nahir secretly stole her police officer father's service pistol. Then they went somewhere on Fernando's motorcycle. Along the way, the girl asked him to stop on a quiet, dark street. And in this ominous silence, deceiving the victim's vigilance, Nahir shot Fernando twice. First in the back, and when he fell to the ground, a finishing shot straight to the heart. After the deed, the girl calmly went home, took a shower, got rid of the traces of the crime, returned her father's gun to its place, and went to bed as if nothing had happened. At the trial, the prosecution loudly read out this chilling version of what happened, and Nahir, found guilty of murder, was sentenced to life imprisonment. A terrifying verdict for such a young person. She became the youngest girl in the country to receive such a severe punishment of this kind. However, she has a theoretical chance of being released on parole after 35 years of imprisonment, that is, at the age of 54. The sentence remained in force after 3 consecutive appeals filed by the convicted woman's lawyers. 4 years later, Nahir again tried to disprove her guilt, shifting the responsibility for Fernando's murder onto her father. However, this version only raised new questions for the investigation. Why then is it Nahir and not her father seen on the recordings? Why would he kill his own potential son-in-law and ruin his daughter's life? Moreover, at the trial, Nahir's mother unexpectedly sided with her daughter and even divorced her husband, accusing him of abusing the family. In conclusion, Nahir stated that she had always been afraid of her despotic father, and that's why she initially decided to take the blame on herself. She even filed a lawsuit against her parent, claiming that he posed a danger to her mother and disabled younger brother. This high-profile case became widely discussed by the media and the public. Opinions were divided. Some supported Nahir and believed in her innocence, while others were convinced that she had ruined her youth and future because of unrestrained emotions and jealousy. In any case, the story of this insane beauty serves as a frightening reminder of the tragedies that human passions can lead to when they break free from the control of reason.